What is going on, everybody? For those who don't know, I go by BUSG, and this is a Sixers offseason video. If you guys are new to this channel, I love talking Philly sports every single day. Go down below and hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and make sure to turn on the notification bell so you guys are instantly notified whenever I upload a new video. So here we are in the Philadelphia 76ers offseason once again after the Philadelphia 76ers did end up losing in Game 7 to the Boston Celtics by a final score of 112-88 under the third season of Doc Rivers, in which Doc Rivers did end up getting fired, as stated here by Adrian Wojnarowski. This was stated on Tuesday, but I never had a chance to make a video on head coaching replacements at the time, but I did make the YouTube short. Go check it out if you guys have not done so already. But it is stated here by Adrian Wojnarowski that breaking the Philadelphia 76ers dismissed coach Doc Rivers on Tuesday. Sources tell ESPN. Rivers led the Sixers to the Eastern Conference semifinals in each of his 3 seasons on the job. Each of the 3 seasons, meaning 2 years ago against the Atlanta Hawks, losing in Game 7. Last year against the Miami Heat, losing in Game 6. And now just on Sunday, losing to the Boston Celtics in Game 7 once again. So, with Doc Rivers being fired, we are looking to find a new head coach to take Doc Rivers' place. And according to Sports Radio 94 WIP, it says the odds to be the next Philadelphia 76ers head coach via BetOnline_AG. JJ Redick with a 3 out of 1 chance. Mike D'Antoni with a 7 out of 2 chance. Monty Williams with a 4 out of 1 chance. Nick Nurse with a 5 out of 1 chance. Jay Wright with a 6 out of 1 chance. Mike Budenholzer with a 15 and 2 chance. And then Frank Vogel with an 8 and 1 chance of becoming the Philadelphia 76ers head coach next season. So as you can clearly see, a lot of good options here, but JJ Redick honestly being the top option honestly does surprise me a little bit, because I mean, even though he has played for the Philadelphia 76ers in his career, playing the game of basketball and coaching the game of basketball, in my opinion, are 2 different things. But with JJ Redick having that experience, knowing what the Philadelphia 76ers kind of look like as a team, kind of gives me the opportunity to think that JJ Redick actually does have a chance of being the Philadelphia 76ers head coach. And then you obviously have some experienced head coaches in Mike D'Antoni, Monty Williams, Nick Nurse, Jay Wright, Mike Budenholzer, and Frank Vogel, who have already coached in their career and could have a higher chance of becoming the Philadelphia 76ers head coach next season and basically any year going forward. But without further delay, we are going to go ahead and get into my top 3 options for the Philadelphia 76ers at head coach for next season. And before we start off with my top 3, I'm going to go ahead and give an honorable mention to who I think could be the Philadelphia 76ers head coach, but which I do not think is going to be a possibility. And that is going to actually be JJ Redick, who did have the highest odds, according to Sports Radio 94 WIP, to be the Philadelphia 76ers head coach. But the reason why I do have him as kind of like my dark horse or my honorable mention, whatever you want to call it, is because in terms of like the negative way, JJ Redick again has never coached an NBA game in his career. But knowing the Philadelphia 76ers is a reason why he could become the Philadelphia 76ers head coach, like I said before. But JJ Redick not having any experience, though, kind of concerns me on him being a head coach for the Philadelphia 76ers. But overall, I see it as a realistic possibility, and JJ Redick could be that guy, but I really just do not see it with the small amount of head coaching experience that he has, which is literally none. Now, going into my number 3, I have a top 3 list for the head coaching position, and at number 3 is Philadelphia 76ers assistant coach Sam Cassell. Yes, that's right, Sam Cassell again is the assistant coach of the Philadelphia 76ers and has stuck around with them for quite a long time after getting some interviews with a couple of other teams. But now, to this point, he is still the Philadelphia 76ers assistant coach and could have that opportunity to take that next step in becoming a head coach. But again, like JJ Redick, Sam Cassell does not have experience in being a head coach, but has been the assistant coach for the Philadelphia 76ers for quite a few years now, and has an opportunity to take Doc Rivers' place and be the 76ers head coach for years to come. And overall, I can see Sam Cassell being promoted to the 76ers head coaching role. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, again, similar to JJ Redick, I just do not see it happening with Sam Cassell being promoted to the Philadelphia 76ers position. I didn't say it's not going to be fully guaranteed that Sam Cassell does not get brought up to the head coaching position, but at the end of the day, I really just don't see it with him not having experience as the head coach, calling all the plays, doing anything that Doc Rivers did with the Philadelphia 76ers, and bringing it over to the head coaching role for Sam Cassell. He doesn't have any experience, which again concerns me, similar to JJ Redick, but at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I can still see it happening as a possibility. Now into my number 2 spot in terms of who I think has an opportunity to become the Philadelphia 76ers coach is going to be Monty Williams. If you guys do remember correctly, Monty Williams was obviously the head coach of the Phoenix Suns, but since they did get eliminated in the second round with a team that had Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant, with a team like that, he did end up getting fired because that should have been the year that the Phoenix Suns should have went to the NBA Finals. And as it shows here on franchisesports.co.uk, it shows that under Monty Williams, it says, not many people expected Monty Williams to change things for the Phoenix Suns, and who could blame them? They have been terrible for years, but Williams made an immediate impact and nearly led them to the playoffs in the NBA bubble, following that effort with a trip to the NBA Finals. While Chris Paul also had plenty to do with that culture turnaround, the Phoenix Suns should be on their knees thanking Monty Williams for bringing back postseason basketball to the desert. The Suns are an elite defensive team, and he's been great when facing contenders since he took over. So overall, Monty Williams can come in and change that franchise. And keep in mind that he was also a former Philadelphia 76ers coaching staff member before heading off to Phoenix to coach the Suns for a little bit. And we could potentially see him reunite with the Philadelphia 76ers, as before the season began for this past season, they had him as the 6th ranked coach in terms of the top 10. And my number 1 coach for the Philadelphia 76ers to potentially hire was also listed as the number 5 ranked coach on the top 10 list on franchisesports.co.uk. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I can see Monty Williams being hired by the Philadelphia 76ers as well. But is it going to be good enough now that he got fired from the Phoenix Suns that had a team of Chris Paul, Kevin Booker, and Kevin Durant? Is it going to be enough? I do not know myself, but I think similar to Sam Cassell, there's always a good possibility. Now, going into my number 1 spot on who I think the Philadelphia 76ers can possibly hire as a head coach is going to be former Toronto Raptors head coach Nick Nurse at number 1 on my list, but number 5 on the list on franchisesports.co.uk for the best head coaches going into this season. And for Nick Nurse, it says that Nick Nurse entered his stripes in the G League and slowly climbed his way to the big C. People died him when he took over the Toronto Raptors, and he responded by leading them to an NBA championship. Then he continued to prove that he was one of the best NBA head coaches in 2023, even when Kawhi Leonard left. Nick Nurse's teams are well known for their suffocating defense. They can throw multiple looks at you, and they've even found ways to keep Steph Curry in check, which is a lot to say. The Raptors are entertaining to watch, and Nick Nurse has a never-ending set of tricks up his sleeve, which is what Nick Nurse has also ended up doing to the Philadelphia 76ers in his career as being a head coach for the Toronto Raptors, especially when you saw it last year when we were in Toronto for the postseason for the 2022 NBA playoffs before losing to the Miami Heat when we were playing the Toronto Raptors in the first round, which they gave us a good fight, don't get me wrong, even without Kawhi Leonard when Kawhi Leonard was and still is in LA playing for the Clippers. But Nick Nurse is honestly one of the best head coaches in the NBA and has one of the greatest mindsets in the NBA as well, which gives me the opportunity to think once again that Nick Nurse can also come in and be the Philadelphia 76ers new head coach. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I just think this is the best option for the Philadelphia 76ers to go ahead and hire, even though he might not fit the 76ers scheme, the way they like to play, playing a lot of pick and roll, just playing the way that the Sixers like to play. I'll bet that Nick Nurse will want to play with his type of scheme, and he'll be able to teach it to his players, or the players will be able to teach Nick Nurse how they like to play, and then Nick Nurse will hopefully be able to figure things out with the type of mindset that he has, and hopefully we'll find a way to turn this team around going forward into the future of their organization. And at the end of the day, I find Nick Nurse to be the number one option for the Philadelphia 76ers to hire at the head coach position to replace Doc Rivers. And we're going to see what happens going forward, but overall, Nick Nurse for the Philadelphia 76ers head coach is my number one option for the head coaching position. You guys give me your thoughts down below in the comments section. How do you feel about all the coaches that I mentioned going from Twitter over to Google, finding these head coaching candidates looking to be the Philadelphia 76ers next head coach? If you would want to hire any of these coaches, who would you want to hire? And how do you feel about my top 3 list that I mentioned? Go ahead and give your thoughts down below in the comments section. Want to see what you guys think, and let's go Sixers. Anyway, guys, I'll see you next time. Peace out, go Sixers, and let's see who becomes the next Philadelphia 76ers head coach.